Hi, I'm James Wilkinson and welcome to Wayfarer. On today's show, we're talking travel with one of the best in the industry, Nick Wayland. And Nick, thanks so much for your time today. You've started a business some 20 years ago right here in Sydney that connects the travel media with some of the biggest brands in the world, don't you?
Well, firstly, James, thank you very much for having me on your show. It's a great pleasure to be here. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, TravMedia was started for my own needs as a travel writer. I had difficulty researching everything that I needed to push out several stories a day. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if everything was online? The internet was born and the revolution was here.
Now tell us about TravMedia, because it's a website that connects journalists with the travel trade, be it hotels, airlines, cruises, destinations. You've gone from a little small website in Sydney with a couple of hundred people who actually use it to some 37,000 now all around the world. How did you get so big? This is fantastic.
Well, it's another good question. I started the company in my mother's back bedroom and because I knew everybody growing up in the industry and they were friends of mine and we used to travel so much together, everybody embraced it. Not just because it was a new idea, but because they trusted me.
And if you look at how you did it, was a website where people could upload a press release or some photos rather than clogging in your inbox. And I remember this back in 2000 and the inboxes would get clogged with like 400 KB shots. So it was kind of an evolution where people could just go to the site and download, right?
Well, this day and age, you no longer send press releases in the post or faxes as they used to in those days. I remember getting paper clips as I used to open up my envelopes all the time. It's now all online. So basically, we're at the right place at the right time. A bit like Google and Facebook and LinkedIn and all those other travel industry portals or social media platforms that everybody uses. It's just about being in the right place at the right time with a lot of luck.
It's also, if you look at it, the travel space in Australia, I mean, where it's gone from in that time, the amount of airlines servicing Australia, the amount of hotel chains here in Australia, you sort of jumped on the travel industry. At the time, it was really taking off in Australia too in the early 2000s around the Sydney Olympics.
Back then, it was still dial-up. We didn't have broadband like we have it today. And I mean, looking at some of the websites, nobody ever thought that the internet would take off the way it has. Not to even replace publishing. Now all publishers are online, so right place, right time again.
And fast forward some 15 years and you created Media Marketplace, which is an event where journalists can meet the trade in a sort of speed dating kind of style. They'll jump from table to table. And you now power this at some of the biggest conferences in the world.
Yeah, well, it started off by just being a branding exercise. We wanted to prove to everybody that we could put destinations and journalists together. And now it's ended up being a third of our business. So it's been a fantastic success. In 11 countries now, we have something like 10,000 meetings a year. We put together 1,200 destinations. It's been a great success, keeps us very busy.
But no one's doing this though. We look at it from those big events and you've gone and partnered up with events like IPW in the United States, Australian Tourism Exchange here in Australia, and created this at those events to connect everybody together properly, and you've given them a solution on how to do that.
Well, the very big difference between what they do and what we do is that we're all about travel in an outbound way. They're all about travel on an inbound way. For that I mean Tourism Australia are all about travel destinations within Australia and bringing journalists from outside the country to report on Australia. Whereas our international media marketplace is precisely that. It's about international destinations as well as some domestic destinations, but journalists all within Australia, or within the US or the UK, and we're now in France, Germany, Singapore and Monaco.
You bring in some great domestic journalists and international journalists, but the caliber, I think, of the exhibitors on offer is why this has been such a success, alongside having journalists from publications like National Geographic.
Yeah, well, precisely. I mean, what is travel all about? It's about meeting people, isn't it? So you can't do all travel online and on the phone. It's about going and meeting people. So if we're going to practice what we preach, so to speak, why not go to the destinations and speak with people independently?
It's come back full circle, hasn't it? It's come back to going to these events where you are meeting people face to face, giving them a business card, versus what's turned into now in most of the technology of emailing someone. It's getting right back to face, which is why I think it's probably grown for you at the same time, is people want face-to-face.
Oh, well, it's a renowned fact that face-to-face is such a better way to do business and such a better way to communicate. It's in all the dimensions that you need. On the telephone, it's only voice. On television, it's only two-dimensional. At least face-to-face, you get to see them, their personality, and you can read their body language. So travel for business is just so important. Conferences, everything about travel is so important to the way that we communicate.
But you've got the backing of the biggest associations, right? So you've got the Australian Society of Travel Writers, where you're a life member, youngest ever life member.
Correct.
And you're also a member of the Society of American Travel Writers. So both of those organizations have really embraced this product, this technology, and the media marketplace solution, because that's a key, I think, to this, in the fact that they like it as well as much as their members like it.
Well, we do international media marketplaces in Sydney, Hong Kong, Singapore, Macau, in Germany, in Berlin. We do it in Paris, in France, London, the US, in New York. But we also do it for the US Travel Association, the Society of American Travel Writers, the Australian Society of Travel Writers, CLEAR, which is the Cruise Lines International Association, and HUDL, which is Florida's travel trade show. So altogether, we do about 7 for ourselves and 7 for other travel show organizations.
And it's only getting bigger now too when we talk about where you're growing. I mean, you've just done the French one, for example, and obviously French are one of the most prolific traveling countries, like the Germans are too, and you've got journos in both those countries where you know so well. You've got media marketplaces now in those countries.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know where we'll go from here. Possibly we'll do Eastern Europe, we'll do Italy, we'll do South America. We had our first inaugural one in Sao Paulo, but we've pretty much got the world covered.
But it is one of those things where I think you do have a solution, don't you, that no one's doing, because it is that face-to-face interaction that sometimes it is one of those money can't buy experiences, particularly for the journalists as well, who get to know these PRs from destinations, airlines, cruises, who you can't just call up and go, hi, I'm so-and-so from a publication. You're generally on a media hotline most of the time. You're offering face-to-face.
Well, face-to-face is so important, going back to the many dimensions, because you need to be able to trust the individual, that individual that you're going to spend a lot of money flying to your destination, putting up in your 5-star hotel, is going to deliver you the results. So not only do you need the right publications, the right media, but you also need to have that trust involved. And when it comes to communicating, that's such an important part of the business.
But the biggest travel brands in the world trust you. Like, you've got journalists from the BBC, from USA Today, from the National Geographic, right through to News Limited around the world, all coming to your events to take part in these events from the journalist side.
Yeah, it's a good, very important point too. In terms of Tourism Australia, we actually invite all of the 84 journalists that come here each year to meet with all of the Australian destinations, because we work with those journalists in so many markets around the world. Whereas Tourism Australia only puts on this event once a year. So it's very important that they have somebody like us that's at every travel trade show in the world vetting the media before they come here.
I think that's a very important thing, the fact that you do have such great contacts at each of those publications around the world, but you're also getting the most senior of the travel trade as well too. You're getting CEOs of airlines coming along to your events because they trust the events so much.
Yeah, they do. It's a very important part. As John O'Sullivan said from Tourism Australia, it's the most important event of the year, that being IMM ATE.
I don't know what we would have done without you, Nick. I don't know how we would have actually got to know so many of these people in the travel game without using TravMedia.com and meeting people at your events. So congratulations, well done.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, we have 37,000 members, as I think you mentioned earlier. We have 2,832 clients, and they're all distributing their digital assets to every country in the world. So it's been a great success story. It's been a great fun. Who doesn't like travel?
Well, Nick, congratulations. Thanks so much for your time on the show. And it's interesting when we think about this is not something that anybody can do anytime easily soon.
Well, even if they do, James, imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
That's right. Congratulations.
All right. Thanks, man.
See you soon.
Appreciate it.